Yeah, I think the physicality won. We all know that the W is physical, but Unrivaled, I feel like, is even more physical than that. Have help side, like you're basically on an island. So at points, you're going to have to be okay with getting cooked, but that's not to say like you're not going to wear defense with pride and try to just defend on the island and guard your yard and keep.
Paige Bueckers exposed WNBA in one sentence, and once she said it out loud, it became impossible to unsee where the league is suddenly being outpaced.
A third consecutive All-Star nod. All-League second team. Bueckers fadeaway swish. Oh yeah, she says. Welcome, Paige, to Unrivaled.
You know, this is a fast-paced game in general.
Paige Bueckers arrived in Unrivaled, carrying more than Rookie of the Year momentum. She carried expectations shaped by years of being labeled the safest, smartest, most polished star of her generation.
But both of these teams, you can see the quickness they're getting into their actions.
Paige Bueckers with trickery in Miami.
Range game. We told you she loves to do that, getting down with the.
Every move she makes is filtered through that reputation, which is why her honesty about where the WNBA falls short landed harder than any hot take could have. She didn't frame it as controversy, she framed it as truth learned the hard way, and that distinction matters because it reveals something deeper than format differences. It reveals how the modern women's game is being quietly stress tested in ways the WNBA has not fully embraced.
Paige Bueckers, welcome to the show. It's Unrivaled on TV. Area Fenn, an all-star in her first pro campaign, looks to carry it over. Bueckers finds Brink.
From the moment Bueckers stepped onto the Unrivaled floor, the adjustment was immediate and unforgiving. There was no easing into the game, no hiding behind schemes, and no safety net disguised as team defense. 3-on-3 strips basketball down to its rawest form, and for a player known for anticipation, positioning, and team-oriented brilliance, the challenge was not about scoring or pace. It was about survival on an island where every weakness is magnified and every possession becomes personal.
What was it like making your debut for Unrivaled Season 2?
That was really fun, super exciting. It's just a really competitive brand of basketball. It's basically one-on-one in space, so there's a whole lot of competing.
When Bueckers acknowledged that Unrivaled is more physical than the WNBA, she shattered a long-standing assumption. The WNBA has built its identity on toughness, and rightfully so, but toughness in a 5-on-5 system can be distributed, right? It helps defense exist, and fouls can be absorbed by structure.
So there's a whole lot of competing, a whole lot of talking trash, going back and forth, extremely physical. It's just really fun to play that way.
Paige, as you came on, I wasn't sure if you caught the defensive.
Unrivaled removes all of that. Physicality there is not absorbed by the system. It is absorbed by the individual. That distinction turns defense into a confrontation rather than a collaboration.
Investment, switching from 5-on-5 to 3-on-3.
Yeah, I think the physicality won. We all know that the W is physical, but Unrivaled, I feel like, is even more physical than that.
What makes her statement so unsettling is that it was not framed as a complaint. Bueckers did not suggest the physicality was unfair or excessive. She described it as a reality check. You defend or you get exposed. You hold your ground or you get cooked. And when you do get beaten, there is no teammate sliding over to save you. That kind of accountability forces growth at a speed most professional systems avoid.
And then not being able to have help side, like you're basically on an island. So at points, you're going to have to be okay with getting cooked, but that's not to say like you're not going to wear defense with pride.
This is where the conversation quietly shifts from basketball mechanics to league philosophy. The WNBA prioritizes longevity, cohesion, and season-wide sustainability. Unrivaled prioritizes intensity, compression, and immediate consequence. Neither approach is inherently superior, but Bueckers' words suggest that one of them is currently better at sharpening competitive edges. That admission carries weight because it comes from a player who has thrived in traditional systems her entire career. There is also an unspoken context behind her comments that cannot be ignored. Bueckers' career has been shaped by injury, scrutiny, and constant recalibration. Every offseason choice she makes is examined through the lens of risk. By embracing Unrivaled and openly acknowledging its physical demands, she is signaling confidence in her body and her preparation, but she is also implicitly questioning whether the WNBA's structure truly prepares players for the most demanding moments of elite competition. But before we move on to the next step, Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit like because it's about to get wilder.
People in front of you, but at the same time, these are the best women in the world and you're competing against them. So that's a lot different for sure.
Hey, Paige, you better take that compliment from Candace. She don't say much about us Huskies.
No, thank you.
Old narratives around women's basketball often centered on skill over strength, finesse over force, and spacing over contact. Those narratives are fading, and Unrivaled feels like a deliberate response to that shift. The league was designed to confront players with their limits, not protect them from exposure. Bueckers' experience highlights how rare that environment actually is at the professional level. Speculation naturally follows when a star of her stature draws such a comparison. If Unrivaled sharpens physical and mental toughness faster, does it become a proving ground rather than a side stage? Does it quietly influence how future stars train, prepare, and even evaluate the WNBA's competitive demands? No one is saying Unrivaled replaces the WNBA, but the implication that it challenges players more directly in certain areas is enough to raise uncomfortable questions.
A lot of people, she mentioned your defense. A lot of people, I think, know your shot, but 75% of your shots right now in Unrivaled are the mid-range game.
This moment also lands during a fragile period for the league, with collective bargaining negotiations stalled and players increasingly vocal about workload, compensation, and control. Any suggestion that another league offers something the WNBA does not becomes politically charged. Bueckers did not intend to step into that debate, but her words exist inside it regardless. When a marquee player praises the intensity of a player-driven league, it reinforces the idea that innovation is happening faster outside the WNBA's traditional structure. There is another layer to this conversation that fans often overlook. Physicality is not just about contact, it is about responsibility. In Unrivaled, every mistake belongs to you. There is no hiding behind rotations or assignments. That environment demands mental resilience as much as physical strength. Bueckers' acknowledgement that you must be okay with getting cooked speaks to humility, but it also speaks to trust in the process of growth through exposure rather than protection.
The analytics world of layups and threes. So just talk about just living in there. Right now, you're the mid-range mommy.
No, yeah, I think it's going away from the game so people don't.
Historically, stars have been insulated by systems designed to maximize efficiency and minimize risk. Unrivaled rejects that approach. It forces stars to confront uncomfortable matchups and live with the results. For a player whose game is built on efficiency and intelligence, embracing that chaos is a statement in itself. It suggests a hunger for discomfort that aligns with elite growth rather than brand maintenance. Some insiders quietly speculate that this is why Unrivaled resonates so strongly with younger players. It mirrors the environment of high-stakes pickup games, international play, and street ball intensity, where reputations are earned possession by possession. The WNBA, by contrast, reflects institutional basketball excellence, refined and regulated. Both matters, but Bueckers' experience highlights how the gap between them may be widening rather than narrowing.
Because not many people shoot it, not many people hunt mid-range shots. And I think it's the toughest shot in basketball to master. So to try from a young age to get to that to get to the mid-range spot, make a lot of shots in that area.
There is also the question of fan perception. Physicality is visceral, and it translates immediately on screen. Unrivaled's confrontational style creates moments that feel raw and unscripted, while the WNBA's beauty often lies in execution and flow. Bueckers' comments inadvertently touch on why certain highlights circulate faster and why certain games feel more emotionally charged despite fewer players on the floor. None of this diminishes the WNBA's value or legacy. Instead, it exposes a moment of transition. The league is evolving alongside its players, but evolution is rarely symmetrical. Unrivaled's existence accelerates conversations the WNBA might otherwise pace more cautiously. When stars like Bueckers articulate those differences without apology, it pressures the league to examine whether its competitive framework is keeping up with the athletes it showcases.
It's just hard to guard, and to be able to score at all three levels, it just makes you so much harder to guard. So to be able to have that in my game, continue to keep working on it, finding different ways to get to that space, I think it's tough.
Old tea resurfaces quietly here too. For years, players have privately discussed how off-season leagues abroad often feel more physically demanding despite less structure. Unrivaled formalizes that experience domestically and validates those whispers. Bueckers' words bring those comparisons into the open without framing them as criticism, which paradoxically makes them more impactful. What stands out most is how composed Bueckers remains throughout this discussion. There is no drama in her delivery, no agenda in her tone. That calmness is precisely what makes the revelation feel seismic. She is not chasing headlines. She is describing reality as she experienced it, and when a player of her discipline and reputation speaks plainly, the basketball world listens differently.
Only 19, and like the future is just so bright for her. Like, this is the worst she'll ever be, and she's already amazing. And just, I think what I've learned about her is her IQ for the game, how smart she is and how much she thinks ahead.
The broader implication is not that the WNBA is insufficient, but that it may no longer be singular. For decades, it was the unquestioned pinnacle of women's professional basketball in the United States. Unrivaled does not threaten that status directly, but it introduces a parallel space where different skills are tested and different truths emerge. Bueckers' acknowledgement of that reality legitimizes the league in a way marketing never could. As the women's game continues its rapid expansion, these moments of honest comparison will shape its future more than any press conference. Players are no longer content to perform excellence. They want environments that demand it relentlessly. Bueckers' experience suggests that those environments are multiplying, not consolidating.
I mean, to be able to be that athletic, be that tall, defend 1 through 5, score in the paint, score outside, score in the mid-range, but I think her best attribute is her passing. So just to be able to have all of those aspects.
The tension now lies in how the WNBA responds, not defensively, but thoughtfully. If the league embraces what Unrivaled reveals rather than resists it, the result could be a stronger ecosystem for everyone. If it dismisses those lessons, the contrast will only sharpen as more stars step onto islands with no help and discover what they are truly capable of. Paige Bueckers didn't just compare leagues. She exposed a fault line in how greatness is tested. And once that line is visible, the game can never go back to pretending it isn't there. Let us know your precious views in the comments below.